threw up. Like, I do not want to go back. I don't want to go back to the way that I was. I am going to share my journey on GLP-1 medications. For the last year, I've been on and off of GLP-1 medications. I started on Saxenda, then I switched to Wegovy, which is the same thing as Ozempic. I'm sure if you've heard of Ozempic, if you haven't heard of Wegovy. I stopped taking Wegovy, then I started again taking Wegovy, and then I just recently stopped taking Wegovy again. I want to share my journey so that if you're thinking about doing it, you have somebody's experience to hear about. Last November, I started on Saxenda because I was significantly overweight. I am 5'6", and my weight when I started on day 1 was 204. And I had struggled with my weight for 3 years prior to getting on the medication. I had my son in January of 2020. After I had him, like 2 weeks after I had him, my weight went down to so when I delivered him, I was 217. 2 weeks after I had him, my weight went down to 195. And from there until November of 2022, so almost 3 years, I just fluctuated between 195 and 205. I could not lose weight. I exercised regularly. I was doing keto. I tried keto, tried intermittent fasting. Like, my weight did not change. It would go down 5 pounds, but then it would go right back up. And then it would go down and then right back up. So I went to my doctor and told her, like, I really don't know what else to do. I thought maybe she would send me to a nutritionist. I had never even heard of this medication before. So she told me about the medication, that it was shots. She said there was a weekly one, which was Wegovy, Ozempic, but that was back ordered at the time. There was low stock, or I can't remember, there was some issue with it. So she started me on Saxenda, which is a daily injection. And I was on that for 3 months and I lost 20 pounds, 21 pounds, I think. So I went back to the doctor for my follow-up. And at that time, that was in February of this year, 2023. She said that the Wegovy was available now so that she could switch me to Wegovy, and that would just be easier because it was a weekly injection. The only thing with the Wegovy is, or was at the time, that they only had the higher doses. They didn't have the lower doses, but she figured since I had been on Saxenda for so long, for 3 months, and I was on one of the higher doses, that I should be fine switching over to Wegovy. I switched over to Wegovy the beginning of February of last year. I started at 204. When I switched to Wegovy, I was at 183. 1 week after I started Wegovy, I had a breast reduction, which was long overdue. I've needed one like since I was 18 years old. From that surgery, I did lose 3 pounds. She told me she removed 3 pounds of breast. I just want to say that because that kind of like factors into the weight loss. But anyway, so I started Wegovy in February, took it until May, and from that time I lost another 21 pounds, something like that. My lowest was 158 in May, but I never really stayed there. I think only one time I weighed 158, but I was pretty steadily in the low 160s, like 160, 161, 162, 163. The side effects were pretty severe with Wegovy. So Saxenda, I really didn't have that crazy of side effects. In the beginning, I had really bad headaches, a little bit of stomach issues, but you kind of get used to it as you go on, and a little bit of nausea. I made a TikTok about the side effects of Saxenda. To be honest, I really don't remember, but those are the couple things that I can kind of remember. But I don't remember the side effects being too bad. When I started on Wegovy, I could feel it immediately. Like, the side effects were insane. I was so tired, just totally, completely wiped out. I had horrible headache, constipation, nausea, like on and off nausea. I did stick with it and it did die down a little bit. There were some things that I did to kind of help with the side effects. One of them was drinking liquid IV in the morning, because I noticed on Wegovy that I did not have the desire to drink water at all. And what I heard was that when you're not hungry, you're also not thirsty, and so you just don't have the desire to drink water. But I would even try to force myself to drink water and it would make me sick. Like, I just didn't have room in my stomach for the water. But when I drank the liquid IV in the morning, that helped a lot. The side effects were just really interfering with my life. I was home with my kids. My daughter was in school at the time, and I did have help with my son. But starting at the end of June, I was about to be home full time with my kid, and it just wasn't gonna work out. I was just so tired. I could not combat the tiredness. I felt like being a human was like too much. It was too hard to be a functioning human. Like, just getting my day-to-day stuff done was exhausting. I was just constantly exhausted. So I'm like, I need a break. So I stopped taking it in May, and by the end of June, I had gained back 12 pounds. I was up to like 172, I want to say was the highest. I just was like, oh my god. I was really upset because I felt so comfortable at 160. I feel like that is my weight. Maybe I could go down to like 155. I wouldn't mind fluctuating between like 155 and 160, but I felt really, really comfortable with myself and my body and the way that I looked at 160, and I really wanted to stay there. And I could start to tell as I was going up to like 170s, being in the low 70s, like, this is not what I want to do. I had to refill another 3-month supply of Wegovy. So I went and got the supply like a drug addict. I picked up my supply and I started using again. As soon as I started, so I started the end of June, beginning of July. As soon as I started taking the medication again, my weight went right back down. It was like 2 to 3 pounds a week. I was back down to the low 160s. So I stayed there until I started taking it in July. I took it the middle of July, and then I took it all the way until the beginning of September. I think I did it for 7 weeks. Then the side effects like started to build up again. I felt like I was kind of combating the tiredness with exercise. So in the month of August, when I was taking it like, you know, weekly, the way that I was supposed to be taking it, I exercised 5 days a week. I felt like that did help, but it was like a struggle. Like, I was trying to go 100 miles an hour on an empty tank. I didn't like the way that I felt, so I was like, all right, now I'm back down to my normal weight. Like, let me just come off the medication and just try to stay here. Like, I should be fine. I stopped taking it at the end of September, and my weight pretty much stayed the same for about 5 weeks. And then I started to notice I was like very bloated, more bloated than usual. And with the medication, it really does like reduce your bloating immediately. Like, every time I would take the shot, I lost a gallon of water out of my body. As I was feeling that bloated feeling, like the scale started going up, and every week the scale is just going up, 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 up. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's like a rebound effect where, you know, you've suppressed your appetite for so long that it has to be, you know, maybe it will go up a little bit and then stabilize. So I wanted to give it time, but it has been 2 months since I've been off of it, and I have gained 20 pounds. Like, it just, as quickly as it came off, it has come back. I don't want to go back on the medication. I want to just figure this out on my own, and that's why I'm starting like my new health journey of not drinking alcohol anymore and going to the gym in the morning and working on my eating, making sure that my nutrition is good, because this is the thing. I feel so much better off the medication. I feel like a normal functioning human being. I feel like I have all the energy back that I used to have. I'm still exercising regularly. I feel like I am like the Energizer Bunny like I used to be. The only thing that sucks is that my weight has gone back up, and I like can feel it. My jeans, I can barely button my jeans. It's just not a good feeling. Like, I felt so good with the way that I looked at 160, but I didn't feel good on the medication. Now I feel good, but I don't like the way that I look. And I don't know where to go from here. I'm trying to figure it out. If you have any advice in the comments for what to do other than go back on the medication, which I really do not want to do, please let me know, because I just really want to go back to 160. Like, that is where I'm happy. 161 was like what I was holding steady at. Today I stepped on the scale and it was 181, and I almost threw up. Like, I do not want to go back. I don't want to go back to the way that I was. So that's my experience. A 1 year on and off of GLP-1 medication. I will keep you updated. I'm going to be documenting my journey of eating better, eating healthy, going to the gym regularly, and hopefully going back to a comfortable weight for me. If you have any questions, if you've made it this far in the video, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.